We wanted to share our experience of living on Rarotonga in Cook Islands for a whole month.
Located in the South Pacific, made up of 11 islands, Rarotonga is the largest, and that's where we stayed.
We didn't hop around to any other islands just because there's 5 of us, so to save on some costs, we just stayed on Rarotonga. So we wanted to tell you all what we thought and our experience there. You're probably wondering when is the best time to visit Rarotonga or Cook Islands. And what we found is that they have their dry season, which is also their peak season, and that is from June until August. And then they have shoulder seasons, which is April to May and September through October. And then their wet season is November through March, but there's also the possibility of tropical storms during that time. When we were there during July, and it's also their winter in July, so it was slightly colder temperatures is what they were telling us, but it was still good temperatures.
70s
Yeah.
Fahrenheit. Which also, though, that season starting in July is whale season.
Whale season is July through October. We were told that the best time to actually see whales is August through October. That's when they're there every single day. You can see them really easy. But we were lucky and got to see them in July as well. So to get to Cook Islands, we flew there and we flew into the main island of Rarotonga. And then if you want to go to other islands, they have little charters from Rarotonga.
And I believe there is a direct flight now from Honolulu to Rarotonga.
Yeah, and we took a direct flight from
French Polynesia.
So where would we recommend staying?
If you are kind of looking to snorkel, to relax on the beach, go play in the water, that type of thing, kind of that Muri all the way south down and around, you have the Fruits of Rarotonga beach section, and then you get to Aroa, and then you go up, and then there's Black Rock. And so there's beach all along that stretch, and really anywhere along there would probably be a great option. From Muri up north to the main city of Avaroa, the reef is in close to shore, and so you get more waves and less lagoon sections. We'll probably talk about beaches and stuff, but we'll just talk about them now, because if you are deciding on where to stay based off beaches, Muri is very calm mostly. There's the motus right there that protect the beach section, and so super calm. You can do a lot of kayaking, paddleboarding. When it's windy, they have kite surfing there. And there is some snorkeling as well. Probably not the best snorkeling on the island, but you can do it and swim all over and play. So that's a really fun section. The kids really love that. It was really calm. You can just get out in the water and enjoy.
They liked it to build sand castles too.
Yeah. There's also that town, right, is a great little place. You can walk around the town. You don't necessarily need a car. If you are just going there and you want to be in that section, you could do it because there's a lot of restaurants. There's a couple grocery stores, smaller grocery stores, things like that, where you can be kind of self-contained in that section. If you keep going south, kind of around the bend, you come to the Fruits, what they call the Fruits of Rarotonga beach section, which has good snorkeling. You could hang out on the beach. Definitely a little bit not as calm, I guess, depending on the day, but just generally speaking, it was not as calm as Muri.
There's also more rocks, more reef right there. So to actually walk out to swim, there's only certain sections that
are sandy. We kind of stayed in the Fruits of Rarotonga section at an Airbnb, which was fantastic. We could walk to the beach, and we walked the beach quite often. I mean, there's some good beaches just all through there that you can stop at and snorkel and play and hang out on the white sand and enjoy. But if you keep going, there you come to the Rarotongan, the hotel, and then right past that is Aroa Beach, which we really enjoyed. That's great for snorkeling. Saw a lot of turtles, a lot of fish, a lot of coral that's healthy and stuff there, and you could play in the water. And again, a lot of other beaches in between there you can just stop at and pull off and enjoy. But then if you keep going up that coast, again, a lot more hotels along that section, a lot of homes that you can rent and stay at, and bungalows, things like that. And then you come up to Black Rock kind of at the top of that before you hit the airport and before you hit the main town. And Black Rock is a good beach that we enjoyed playing on the rocks, playing in the water. You can snorkel there. Yeah.
That's where you see whales Really, you can see wells really well from Black Rock.
Kind of that whole section, lots of beaches, lots of places to go and play. So depending on what you're looking for, that's what we focus on, is the beach and snorkeling and playing and getting out. So that's kind of our focus. The main town, Avarua, around Tamuri, tons of places to stay in there, and lots of people do. We just found that the other sections were better for beaches.
Should we talk about getting around right now, since you're talking about all these beaches?
Yep.
To get around, you can rent a car, you can rent a scooter, which they're very popular there, but there's also a local bus system which goes clockwise and counterclockwise. We found that with the amount of people that we had, it was very beneficial to have a car. If it was just the two of us, a scooter would have been perfect. And a lot of people did the bus system.
People had bikes as well. You can rent bikes, and some people would bike the island. It takes a little bit longer, and that's definitely doable if you're adventurous and want to kind of go for a cheaper option.
How long do you think it took to get all the way around the island?
Driving?
Yeah. 45 minutes?
45, yeah, maybe.
Maybe 45 minutes to get all the way around the island, if you're not stopping anywhere.
And there is supposedly, I didn't download it, but there's an app that pinpoints the bus's location, so you can actually see where they're at on the island. And then a thing to note with scooters is you do have to have a specific scooter license to rent a scooter on Rarotonga and anywhere in the Cook Islands. So you have to go to the police station, kind of do a little test and a driving test of a scooter, and get your license that way. If you already have a license from your home state or country that says you can drive, what are those called? Motorcycles?
Yeah.
Then you can just go to the police station and they'll just give you a license because you're already kind of quote unquote qualified. But if you don't, then you need to take a test.
So how to pay for stuff? Mainly credit cards. We use cash at some markets, like the night market and the Saturday market, and maybe some stands. But everything else we used credit card.
Yep.
We had no issue with that.
In the main town, there's multiple banks, and then there's ATMs kind of scattered throughout the island as well.
And they do use New Zealand dollars.
Yes. And they also, though, if you're interested, they do have Cook currency. So they have some coins. They also have banknotes you can get. I found you can actually go to the banks to get them. But you can also go, if you're up in town, to the Ministry of Finance, which is right there in town. Just ask someone for it or look it up. And they have new coins of the Cook Island coins and notes as well.
And there's two different colors of notes.
Credit cards, very easy. I think some places do tack on a charge, but I don't
think I saw that.
Yeah, I don't think I saw it very often.
What to eat?
So yeah, there's a ton of restaurants on Rarotonga. We were surprised coming from French Polynesia and a smaller island of French Polynesia to Rarotonga. Rarotonga had a ton of restaurants and food options up in the main town, and then in Muri and along kind of that southern section, there's a few. Charlie's is a big one that was pretty good that we enjoyed. And then just around the island, you'll see lots of them. The night market in Muri on, I think it was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And you'll need to take cash for that. A couple vendors did take card, but if you want kind of try a lot of things and have more options, take cash. There is an ATM right next to the market, but one night we went, the ATM was out of cash. Plan ahead that way. And then the Saturday market up in Avarua, the main town, just take cash for that because smaller vendors that...
So they have an ATM there too for you.
Yeah. And then there are little fruit stands.
And then there's the grocery stores, which there's a lot of grocery stores on the island. The main town, what was the main town called again?
Avarua?
That's the best place to get groceries. There's two bigger stores there where they were not as expensive as the other little ones throughout the island. It's more expensive than the US. Can't get everything that you get in the US. It's a standard for an island.
But it is cheaper than eating out. If you're staying at an Airbnb and can cook, definitely take advantage of the grocery stores and cooking if you're on a budget. If you're not on a budget and there for a short time, yeah, go eat out. There's some great places. Trader Jack's up in the main town. Palace Burgers up in the main town. Wednesdays they've got $3 burgers, $3.50 burgers, so super cheap. You've got Charlie's, you've got the Lucky Rooster, you've got quite a few different restaurants, and they're all on Google Maps, and you'll find them pretty easily.
So we're going to talk about drinking water on Cook Islands. It is not recommended to drink from the tap So they have refill stations throughout the island
that provide filtered drinking water for you. So those are scattered throughout, and you can find them on the map. Just all around the island, you can stop and fill up your water bottles or jugs or whatever you take. We, from our Airbnb host, they said they don't always get checked on a regular basis, those stations. So more than likely they're good, but something to just be aware of.
Yeah, they recommended the actual water company that's on the island. I don't remember what it was called, but you can go to the factory and get a jug refilled.
Yeah, so it's like a
switched out.
5 gallon jug essentially is what it looks like. And you can purchase one of those and it'll be full. And then what you can do is either go back to the factory or around the island at different spots. If you're in Muri, at the Thames store, the little grocery store, kind of in the main part of town, right next to the night market. Yeah, you can just take your empty jug in, and they have a spot where you just place it and then grab a full jug, and it's about $8.20 New Zealand is the cost for that. If it's the big jug, I think it's $7.40 or something for the smaller one. And that comes filtered water directly from the factory. So that's what we did. We got 2 jugs, which they were provided by our Airbnb host, which was great. And then we could just take those and swap them out. And we use that for drinking and cooking and that sort of thing. And so that was fantastic. And that's would be our recommendation. But if you want, use the refill stations. And I knew lots of people at the dive shop and other places that just used the refill station and they were just fine.
So what is there to do on Rarotonga?
There's lots to do on Rarotonga. Where do you want to start? We're going to start at the water. And of course, just hanging out at the beach, relaxing, playing, swimming, snorkeling, of course, scuba diving, which was great. I spent most of my time in the water because I was getting my certification. Whale watching, if you're there in whale season, which Black Rock was our favorite spot to watch for whales. Had the best view and vantage point. So you can take a day trip to Atutaki, which is the small island. I don't even know if it's closest to Rarotonga, but it's the one that most people go to where you see the picture perfect blue water lagoon. And it's a very small place. You can stay there a couple nights, which would probably be a fun thing to do. We didn't go, but there's also a day trip you can schedule through Air Rarotonga, where it includes your flight over, an excursion on the lagoon, lunch, that type of thing, kind of your activities on the day, and then your flight back. And so that's an option for people to just kind of jump over there. There are 4-wheel kind of, or dune, I don't know if they're dune buggies, but like side-by-sides. People have different names for them. Anyway, mud buggy type tours where you can just go up in the mountains and they take you through different mud trails and different things like that. You can go on a hike. So they have a cross island hike that you can do and some couple other smaller hikes. You can go kiteboarding on windy days. That was popular in Muri section. And there's a place that will teach you how to do that, or you can rent the equipment to do it yourself if you know how. You can also rent paddle boards, kayaks. You can go surfing. There were some people from Hawaii that were out surfing on different sections. There's also the main channel that goes out to the ocean, and there are some strong currents. It's not recommended that you go by yourself. We did see people and know people that did go by themselves. We actually didn't do the tour just for various reasons.
Yeah, we just flew our drone over it.
Yeah, but the channel, so you can go out and snorkel out there. You cannot scuba dive out there that I'm aware of. But
it's just strong currents.
Yeah, super strong currents because it's going out into the ocean. But snorkel, and there's just tons of turtles. There's eagle rays, but that's a fun one that a lot of people do. And there's a lot of tours right there. So yeah, there's a lot to do. Just going to town. They do have a movie theater as well. We were looking at going to a movie, but nothing that they had on looked great.
Well, and
it broke down.
And it broke down.
So anyway, hopefully it's on, but they do have that. Yeah.
So how long do you think somebody needs in Rarotonga?
In just Rarotonga, so we're not talking Cook Islands, we're just talking Rarotonga. I would say a full 7 days. If you really want to experience it, just kind of take your time, go a little bit slower. You're still going to be busy every day probably. We stayed a month, and we talked about it. We could have stayed 2 months. Just because we loved it so much. The pace was slower, but you still had enough city and stores and all that type of thing to keep you busy, and activity-wise, tons to do. So
Yeah. I think if you wanted to like rush through it, you could probably do it in 4 days.
Yeah, you could, but
I wouldn't recommend it
yeah.
because really enjoy it. And if you wanted to hit other islands, you could do it in 4 days.
If you are going to do Atutaki, you'd probably want to spend, I mean, a day over there is probably enough, but you'd probably want to spend a night at least over there, something like that. I don't know. So you'd probably want to spend, if you're going to do Rarotonga and Atutaki, maybe 10 days. You could probably do it in 7.
And the airline also has a 2-day one to, I think it's to that island, but maybe another island too. So just look at their tours. They have different tour options where you don't have to orchestrate anything. They do it all for you.
So what we forgot to talk about was internet. If you're coming from the States, basically it's non-existent for the most part down there from what you're used to. Probably some of the big hotels have it and provide it, but Airbnbs, other places, smaller restaurants, things like that, don't have free Wi-Fi. We found the easiest thing for us. We have unlocked phones, and so that's what I'd recommend, but they do have eSIMs through Vodafone. That was the easiest thing. You just get it online at the airport, since the airport does have free Wi-Fi for an hour. The other option is a physical SIM. So there is a Vodafone store up in Avarua, the main town, that you can go to and I believe get a physical SIM. And then the third option that we noticed is Vodafone offers Wi-Fi hotspots that you can pay for. And those are available, it seemed like at quite a bit of places, restaurants and hotels and grocery stores, and I think even our Airbnb had a Vodafone hotspot. We weren't sure exactly how all that works and the cost on that. We didn't look into it since we just used our eSIM so we can have it out and about as we were going places. But that is another option. So those are the things that we saw. We use Airlo quite a bit for other locations, but they didn't have anything for the Cook Islands. So there may be some other services out there that maybe offer something, but Vodafone, just getting an eSIM once you get there worked the best.
Yeah, that's a recap of Rarotonga for us.
Yeah, Rarotonga for a month. Highly recommend it. We would go back in a heartbeat probably, and
we'd probably stay longer.
yeah, and so yeah, definitely go if you have the chance.